Can we assume that Paulo Costa is no longer a middleweight? Is that fair? I realize we're ahead of ourselves, but he's got a middleweight fight this weekend that he's had plenty of time to know about. He went through a full training camp. It's a main event feature bout, and he can't make weight for it. I'm not giving Paulo a hard time. This is a reality. By the way, guys, let me give you a random thought. I'm holding a nothing here. I'm not attempting to pitch these to you guys. There's no promo code. This is a weapon today. I have a fly that not only is one of the bigger flies I've seen. You know how flies come in multiple sizes, but they're generally the same thing unless you see a big fly? You don't know how to describe the big fly. You just know that it's a big fly. I have one of those. In addition, it's buzzing. I don't know a ton about flies. I've never done fly research, but I don't know about that. Why do some flies buzz and some don't? Or they buzz at certain times? Here he is. He's going around. And Mr. Fly and to his whole family, I'm sure they're perfectly nice people. They're not going to be in this studio today when I get up to leave. At any rate, let me go back to Paulo because I don't want him to stay at 85. I just don't want that. Full disclosure, I have a relationship with Paulo Costa. I've known him for a period of time. He was on the Ultimate Fighter, Brazil, when I was there. He was on the other team, which was Vanderlei Silva's. I got to know him. First off, he's a very nice guy. Great, fine. Secondly, though, in all fairness, because you can't say this about everybody, right? He was a very hard worker. He was the kind of hard work that stood out. It separated him a bit. Vanderlei Silva, the way Ultimate Fighter would work, and I have opposing practice times. By example, Vanderlei will have from 3 to 5 p.m. I will have from 5 to 7 p.m. Vanderlei may not take up that entire 2 hours. He might have a shorter practice that day, hour and a half. Either way, within the time that his team leaves, my team can dress down, get in the locker room, but we cannot walk out until our time of 5 p.m. Because don't forget, the Ultimate Fighter, while a wonderful training camp, is also a set. It's a set. You got to get your cameras. You've got some logistics. The times really matter. The entire thing, there was dozens of people it took to work on this project. Dozens of people would have to stand by and wait. My team could not go into the set at our designated times because Vanderlei's team wasn't out of there. Vanderlei's team wasn't out of there because one guy stayed behind, and that was Paulo Costa. The whole team would be done. Everybody's tired. Everybody's going home. They're hitting the showers, getting to the buffet line. Wonderful food they'll serve you for dinner in the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, not for nothing, Paulo Costa stay in the gym. Now, a guy trying to make headway that wants to go work really hard and show the world he's doing it, more power to him. It's a good, smart play. Paulo Costa had already been eliminated. To find motivation, to find drive at a time like that where your heart is ripped out in front of the world, one person's getting a 6-figure contract, you know it's not going to be you because you've been defeated. And he was still so hungry. He was so curious. He used to come over to our team. Vanderlei had to wear the yellow jerseys was his team on that season. My team, green jerseys was our color that season. He would walk in his yellow jersey. I mean, he'd stick out like a sore thumb, and he'd go talk to Clayton Hyatt. And the English and the Portuguese, it was different, but you can still communicate. You'd be surprised. Unlike any other sport, imagine a football coach trying to call out plays and teach a team. Got 11 guys on the field, or a basketball coach with 5 guys. For some reason, one-on-one, even if you don't speak the same language, within MMA, there's a real communication. So Clayton would show Paulo a little bit how to throw that jab and slip underneath it. Then I'd see him grab Coach Huey. I'd see him grab Coach McQuarrie. Everybody got along with Vinny. Vinny was a world champion and the Abu Dhabi champion, but he spoke both languages. Just remember this about Paulo, and me too. He'd grab me, hey, coach, can you show me how? And it was very sincere. The reason I'm telling you guys about this is because you don't know about it. The reason you don't know about it is it wasn't videoed, and the reason it wasn't videoed is because Paulo Costa did this off camera. So if a guy's out there trying to get some shine and trying to maximize his exposure, I get it. And that's fair play. That's not what this was. This was a very sincere, curious If you can remain curious in life, oh my goodness, that is such a powerful word. If you meet somebody that has a curiosity, and he had it, and he was also one of these guys that never hung his head. He knew better things were in front of him. He had already been eliminated. His dream was dashed. But it was glass half full or glass half empty. And he was half full kind of guy. And he made an impression on me because of this. I've been very impressed with him and very happy for his career. I also, as a guy who continues to care about him, I want him at 205 pounds. I never liked him at 185, we're being real fair. Regardless of how well he did in becoming the number one contender and at one point being 15-0, I didn't like him there. And everybody has a number. But you don't know what that number is without trial and failure. I shared with you guys Daniel Cormier, who I've known since he was 19 years old. And we're on the road together. We call each other. We go do workouts all the time. I grabbed a hold of Daniel Cormier when he became a heavyweight. I grabbed him. We were talking. We were talking about a position. It was completely different. He's reacting and showing me when you talk about we're not going 100%. Guys, we weren't going 5%, and there was something different. There was a strength, a power, and an explosiveness. And I told everybody. In that brief moment with him, I told all of his coaches, told all of my friends and his, I think, he's a heavyweight. He needs to be at heavyweight. He's going to be the champion of the world. I could feel everybody has a number. And with Paulo Costa, he doesn't know what his number is, but I don't either. I can't prove it's 205 pounds, but I think it is. And I do know his ability to extend his career. And I do know that to put more time fully focused on the sport as opposed to the other opponent that you have, which is the scale, tends to be a very good thing. I also think, just career-wise, he's a fresh coat of paint. Now, nobody wants to leave because they were forced out. It's an ego thing. If you lose, in this case, to Israel Adesanya, you want to stay until you beat Izzy, even if you go on and capture the championship of the world, which could tie back to Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier, who became the champion of the world, did not become it by beating his nemesis, John Jones. And many people, to be jerks, and for no other reason, just to be a jerk and not want to pat a guy on the back who did a fantastic job, would point that out. So Paulo Costa, to listen to me, to listen to what I'm sure other advisors are giving him, and to make the official move to 205 pounds is going to have to involve letting that piece of the ego go that's named Israel Adesanya. I think that that's overcomable. I think that's a small mountain, in all fairness. I know that it's real. I know that it's in front of him. But I think that it's small, and I think there's other ways to get the best of Izzy. If that's all we're doing is arguing about arguing and talking about talking, okay, great. Allow me to give you a scenario. You go to 205 pounds, your name's Paulo Costa, you make it into the championship fight, you get the jump on Jan Blachowicz. Who got the jump on Izzy? Are we square? Are we good? Are we good enough that we can live with that and understand? Make a little bracketed format, make it like another sport. I didn't beat you, but I beat the guy that beat you, therefore I'm better than you. Isn't it enough? Now, I'm bringing that to you guys because I'll tell you right now, it's not as though Paulo Costa hasn't considered 205 pounds. And it's not because he's not big enough or he doesn't believe he can do well. It has to do with he doesn't want to leave because he lost to Izzy. He wants to make it back and take out Izzy. The first piece of business Paulo would do if he was to beat say Paulo and Izzy fight right this moment. And Paulo beats him. The very first thing Paulo's going to do, it's not to call out Robert Whittaker. It's not to wait to see who the contender is. He's going to move to 205 pounds. Only thing keeping him at 185 is Israel Adesanya. So if we can just get around that, look at the incredible matches that we can have. And look at the unfair spot that Marvin Vettori is in. And Marvin doesn't care. Nobody has said that Marvin is in an unfair spot. Not Marvin. Not Marvin's manager, Ali. Not his coaches and trainers or even his teammates. They're all being straight up badasses about it. I mean, that's a badass move. You come in on fight week, going to go 25 minutes, You have very, very few rules. You have very few things that you have agreed upon to keep things above board. It's me versus you. It's combat, and it gets dirty fast. And one of those few things is being negated, making of the weight class, an agreed upon fight that has what up for stakes? Well, it's got some prestige for sure. It's got a few bucks for sure. That's not why these guys are here. It's got a ranking and a momentum within the sport and within the industry to bring you closer to your goal, which is to return to a world title fight. And if you go beat a guy outside of the weight class, how in the hell does that help you? And with all of that said, the only one that's ever said any of those words is me. Marvin has not complained once. You guys have to appreciate that, but you can't appreciate it, and a guy can't get his credit unless it's spoken. Marvin has too much pride and ego. He's too laser focused to take a moment to make sure he gets the pat on the back that he deserves for this. Robbie Lawler did the same thing. Robbie didn't want a damn thing. Golden rule, show must go on. I don't care what you, same guy, same rule, same round, same day. Let's do it. Close enough for me. Okay, it is for me too. I subscribe to that too. But we still got to shine up a guy's wheels when he goes through and does it like Marvin. Because Marvin, even on accident, is now going to be a light heavyweight, even if it's for one night only. He's now testing himself and testing the waters at light heavyweight too, and it creates for a very real conversation. And if anybody has missed this, I'll tell you who hasn't. I guarantee you this is Jan Blachowicz. Jan will lay down in bed every night, look up to the moon and stars above, and fantasize and worry about and begin to strategize about who he realistically could be in there with. It's one of the beautiful spots as champion. It's a small field. You got 5 guys you got to worry about. One of their names is going to come out of the hat, but it's between 5 guys. That's it. You're a top 5 ranked guys. It's not going to be anybody outside of the top 10. You're a new guy trying to come in. You got to worry about everybody else on the planet with that same dream. It's very realistic. And Jan Blachowicz now has got to add 2 guys to the potential list in Marvin and Paulo Costa because you don't know what's going to happen. And while you could reasonably exclude Vettori, with a victory, who knows what he's going to do? Marvin will do anything. How nobody's looking at Sean Strickland versus Marvin Vettori, I have no idea. That's probably next week's news. That fight seems to me as a no-brainer, Marvin Vettori versus Sean Strickland. I'm going in totally different directions here, guys. I do want to focus on, first off, credit to Marvin Vettori. Secondly, let's learn from the mistake of Paulo Costa. Let's not make it again. And let's not make it again by counting our calories, reducing our carbohydrate intake. Let's not make the mistake by let's just move up a weight class. 205 pounds, Paulo Costa. That sounds right to me.